of science basically is to take the human element out of things. We've got all these natural fallacies and biases that we will project onto something. So science is a methodology, if you like, to try and take the human element out of things, which can be problematic and there's a lot of limitations to it, but ultimately it's probably the best method that we have of being a little bit less wrong about our understanding of reality.
If you can help someone like that, it's the most rewarding, because that is a complete transformation of someone's not just belief system but their life. And I'm going to present a case afterwards where
In fact, what they found on this paper was that the people who sat a lot seemed to have less upper thoracic musculoskeletal problems. So completely the opposite of what we might expect to see, and this was done over a period of 10 years. But just pinning everything on alignment and structure from a painful perspective, we have to kind of shift away from that.
What happens then when you graduate, as I'm sure all of you guys will have done the same, is that you have to go off and then get a job. And you become an associate and you work for someone. And he did that and he moved to London. And this was a difficult period of time for him because he'd just retired at the age of 26.
So behavior change is a big issue. So I know that research is not very good at that. And a lot of the things that we'll talk about this weekend, like stress management and nutrition and physical activity, none of this shit's new. This has been going on since ancient Egypt. You can look at what the doctor said in ancient Egypt and they've been saying the same thing. We've not progressed from them because that's still the less wrong information to give people. What the real challenge is adherence and compliance. How can we get people to do these things? Because education, we know, does not work. Even with smoking, the research on it, we knew about smoking as a health problem way back in the 50s. It wasn't until late 60s, 70s that they had other strategies around changing behavior, and it wasn't just telling them that it was bad for you. You know, they had to make smoking less cool. They had to make smoking socially unacceptable in many ways, and that was what really started to change the game when it came to smoking.
The chap said, well, we specialise in spinal health and spinal movement, and the teacher said, you specialise in spinal movement? You can't even find your own spine, which was a really humbling experience. For that, allow yourself to be vulnerable. It's not easy. 2, approach something that you're not good at, and to be able to let yourself just go. But it's something that he had to practice just as much, in fact more, because it didn't come easy to him. Working in a way that could cultivate thoughtless, fearless, relaxed movement, they just weren't seeing it. But what they were seeing was certain people around the world who live disproportionately to 100 years of age, creating something from a naked landscape, creating something from nothing.
Point number 3.
Repetition without repetition. Did you get it? But what we do is, and again, our biggest goal is to be able to drive behaviour change and support all the lifestyle factors around what seems to be our biggest avenues for helping people in pain.
All that information is out there already. Information is not the issue. Who post research after research after research after research, and I am a researcher. I love research. I'm a real nerd and I will read research all day. But anybody can post research on social media. I'm guilty of it. I post a lot of research on social media. But what do you do with that research? How do you implement that? And by the end of this weekend, we're going to show you, what we do maybe to influence you a little bit. But if you get anything from this weekend, it's to give you a bit of creative license that the research allows you to have an almost infinite perspective of doing things in rehabilitation.
Where I will sort of just get people exploring like a bear walk, or moving like a frog. Or if someone's really antalgic, I wouldn't even start that until 2 or 3 sessions in.
What is the greatest pain reliever? So I've said it's not something that we should ignore, but self-efficacy seems to be the biggest driver to lower someone's pain. So that sense that everything's going to be okay and that they'll be able to manage doing the things that they want to do. So self-efficacy is a real important thing to empower your patients with. And if you look at the kind of totality of research, these are the kind of things that seem to be important when it comes to improving self-efficacy. Healthcare practitioners, they don't want that door closed, and that's what I think happens on the NHS in the UK. We're trying so hard to give them self-efficacy, we're trying so hard to give them things to do on their own, but the research says they're better at doing things on their own when they're supported. And
you're going to get out of the way of my question by hollowing out, and then I'm going to continue, and then you're going to find your way back to the start position. And then I'm going to be coming in, and again, I want to be able to see you moving as much or as little as you have to get to that position there. And I'm going to just try and cue and bring in different challenges at different levels of his chest, trying to really see how, Michael?
You know, when you see the kind of stuff Luke does with his patients on social media, that doesn't happen straight away, and he'll explain this tomorrow again in his chalkboard session. You have to work hard to create the buy-in.
Crawl. Stop. Go. Spin. Lunge. Jump. Spin. Stop. Go. Okay, great stuff. Those last two commands, we're going to switch them.